Hey y'all, it's your friendly neighborhood therapist. So listen, about tonight's conversation. I know I have talked about it a little bit before, and I know everybody is not interested or even knows what it's about, but that is a podcast that is currently going through a roller coaster of a situation in which abuse has been alleged and all sorts of other things. And yeah, it's a lot happening. But the recent things that have come out point to a very important mental health lesson that I do want to talk about. Now, before I get to the lesson, three things. One, yes, I am a licensed professional therapist, but ethically and legally, I cannot diagnose anybody that I have not assessed and worked with. But I can give my mixture of a personal and a professional opinion based off of the evidence presented, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. Two, if you have been following me for any length of time, you know that I talk about trending topics, celebrity gossip, current events, mental health, spirituality, all sorts of things, parenting, relationships, all sorts of things. When I talk about the trending topics and the things in the celebrity world and things like that, the tea, yes, I'm doing so from the same perspective that others are, which is just to discuss the situations, but I'm also always looking for the mental health lesson. I'm always looking for the mental health lesson because there is always some sort of lesson in everything. No matter how messy, drama filled it is, there is a lesson to be learned. And that's what I'm kind of looking for when I'm engaging in these. I mean, yeah, it's fun and sometimes you can laugh at things and whatever, but there's always a lesson. Then three, something that irritates me real quick, and I just got to get it off my chest. And yes, I know I have told y'all about shadow work, and one of the key elements of shadow work is that whatever irritates you in others is typically something you are dealing with within yourself. I get that. I'm still doing my work. I'm on my journey. It's never ending. But this is something that irritates me in some of y'all. When it comes to situations like this, celebrity gossip or things that are drama filled, the people that get into the comments of those things and say things like, why y'all being messy? Y'all don't know these people. Y'all don't know who to believe. Y'all just want to be messy and want the tea. And for what? Find something better to do. Y'all got to have better things to do in your life. This has nothing to do with you, and so on and so forth. That irritates me because, baby, why are y'all here? See, when I scroll into something that I have no interest in, I keep scrolling. I definitely don't comment even if I watch it for a second because I'm not interested. It does nothing for me. I don't want to engage in it. You don't engage in things that you don't want to have anything to do with because engagement is just going to make it come into your feed even more. So why do that if you're not interested? And why are you here? I want to believe that some of y'all do that just so you can feel morally superior, and I don't understand that because you don't get a cookie for not engaging in things like that. Like it, okay. But for some, it's either a vice or an escape from their own troubles and things like that. But whatever reason it is, it's okay if you don't like it. It's okay if we like it. But what's not okay is you thinking that you can say anything to anyone else. I don't know why that irritates me so, y'all, but I just had to get it off my chest. Anyway, to the lesson. So, with the most recent happenings with the Tonight's Conversation podcast and all of this situation that has been exposed, reactive abuse. That's what I want to talk to y'all about, narcissistic abuse and reactive abuse. So, let me preface this by saying I have spoken before on narcissism. I have told y'all over and over again, everybody ain't a narcissist. I know it's a fun word to throw around all of a sudden now, and it has been for the past few years. But the Clinical Cookout, we did an episode on narcissism. If you have not yet subscribed and watched the Clinical Cookout, go on to YouTube and do that. New season coming soon. And I've talked about narcissistic personality disorder before. Everyone has narcissistic traits. In fact, in order to be a healthy human being with a healthy level of self esteem, you have to have a little bit of narcissism. There is a line, though, and narcissism falls on a spectrum. But everybody ain't a narcissist. Some people are just assholes. Okay? So I wanted to make sure I said that before I dove into this. Because this, though, with Keita Rose and Ace Metaphor, Mojo Jojo, Ace absolutely looks like a quintessential narcissist, just based off of what I have heard on the recent audio that was released. See, the thing about actually hearing someone speak and them not knowing that they are being recorded is they are themselves. And what I heard on the audio and his actions surrounding this whole thing so far look very much like they fall squarely into true narcissism. Now, let me give y'all some quick definitions, okay? Running definitions as I will be talking about this. So, narcissistic abuse is considered a form of trauma and it involves sustained manipulation, exploitation, and emotional mistreatment by someone with narcissistic personality traits or narcissistic personality disorder. Now, reactive abuse, though, reactive abuse, despite the name, because it's a misnomer, it's not actually abuse, it's the reaction to the abuse. Reactive abuse is a form of self defense that some people take in response to ongoing harm in an abusive relationship, and specifically a narcissistic abusive relationship. All right. So it describes a situation where a person who has endured sustained abusive behavior reacts aggressively towards their abuser. The abusive partner or person often manipulates that reaction to shift blame and create a false narrative of so called mutual abuse. Now, real quick, mutual abuse is what people consider it when it's just a toxic relationship and both people toxic and both people abusing each other. When you hear people say, we fight each other, we both fight each other. That is what some people would consider mutual abuse. However, mutual abuse really doesn't exist because in any instance of abuse, you have one person who wants power and control. That is the abuser. The other person may very well be being abusive, but they are doing so in a self defense protective way, trying to protect themselves. They do not actually want power and control over the other person. See, abuse and an abuser, that is a mindset. You want power and control. If you do not seek power and control and you are just trying to protect or save yourself, it is not mutual abuse. It is abuse and protecting. They are abusing, you are protecting. They are abusing, you are in self defense mode. So mutual abuse doesn't actually exist. Somebody in that scenario wants power and control, and the other person does not. Just want to clear that up. But anyway, so what are some signs of reactive abuse? So there are three stages that demonstrate what a abusive relationship with reactive abuse can look like. First stage is antagonism. This is where the abuser deliberately provokes the other person, pushing them to react in anger or frustration. If you listen to the recent audio that was released, and if you've even just watched some of Kita's videos, she is reacting in a way where you can see she is angry and frustrated and hurt. Okay, you can see it. But that is how reactive abuse looks. Okay, that is how it looks. And y'all listen, y'all up here saying, well, she don't know how to act. She is immature. Why is she crashing out like that? That's not professional. That's not how you react to this. That's not how you handle this. She should have handled it behind closed doors. Why didn't she leave before now? All the things y'all are saying fall under victim blaming. Just want you to know that. And all the things you are saying prove to me that you have no clue what reactive abuse looks like, because that is what this is. Given the recent evidence of the audio that was released, that is squarely where we are at. So, anyway, these habits may not seem harmful initially, but they can eventually cause a person to hit their breaking point. Here are a few examples of behaviors that can trigger reactive abuse. One, asking you a personal or triggering question, especially around other people. Two, posting or commenting on your social media in an intentionally triggering way. Three, intentionally violating your emotional or physical boundaries. Four, forgetting to do something intentionally. Five, baiting you into arguments and then belittling your reaction. Baiting you into arguments and then saying things like, calm down. Why you being so crazy? Like, why you acting like that? Can we just talk? Can you just talk to me normal? Like, you ain't got to raise your voice. I'm calm. You be calm. hmm If you heard the audio that Ace released at first, which he quickly deleted, He tried to make it look like she just went off, like she was just screaming her head off and just acting crazy. And he also tried to make it look like she was extorting him for money. But then she released the full audio because, see, that's another thing. That's another tactic of a narcissistic abuser. They are going to manipulate things to make you look a certain way. They're going to gaslight you to make you feel crazy. They are going to twist it so that everyone on the outside looks at you and says, you are the problem. Even if they'll say, people will say things like, even if the other person did do something wrong, you still don't have to act like that. Why are you acting like that? That's exactly how some of y'all sound towards Keita. And I don't understand. Yes, I do. Because most people don't even know what this is, nor understand it, nor care. But it is important because more people go through this than you think. And I would hate for one of your loved ones to be going through something like this and you sitting here thinking they're crazy when they're being abused. Because contrary to popular belief, y'all know that physical abuse ain't the only type of abuse. In fact, psychological abuse is detrimental. Emotional abuse, detrimental. Financial abuse. These all types of abuse are horrible. Okay? So we can't just focus on physical abuse. We have to understand that this is abuse too. This right here can happen to anybody because this narcissistic abuse can happen in romantic relationships, friendships, parent-child relationships, coworker-boss relationships, or coworker-coworker relationships. We got to start realizing that sometimes when we think somebody crashing out, do we ever take the time to ask what brought them to that point? What got you here? Because contrary to what you may think or how mature you think you are, everybody has a breaking point. Everybody. You just haven't been pushed there yet. Keita has. And given what she is alleging, if her son's life was at risk, oh, I know it's a whole bunch of us out here. We claim we mature, but baby, we gonna crash out behind our kids. So don't be so quick to judge her reaction when you don't know what her abuse was like. Okay. Now, the second stage of reactive abuse, proof. Once the victim reacts, the abuser quickly seizes the opportunity to use this reaction as proof that the victim is the abusive one. This can involve recording the outburst on video or audio, taking photographs of any physical responses, or simply recounting the incident to friends, family, or authorities or social media followings in a way that frames them as the victim. So, what did Ace just do? He released doctored audio to make her look a certain way. And if you listen to it, you heard him say on there, Keita, the way you look at me, the way you view me hurts me. I'm the victim. How you see me hurts me because it's not true. I'm a good person. That's a good man, Savannah. He makes it look like he's the victim. Meanwhile, that's all a manipulative tactic to make her look crazy. So, by capturing these moments of reactive behavior, the abuser constructs a narrative that supports their version of events and shifts attention away from their abusive actions. However, remember, abuse is fundamentally about power and control. The abuser holds the most power in the relationship and will use their partner or the other person's reaction to manipulate and control the narrative. Then the third and final stage, turning the tables. Turning the tables is a tactic frequently employed in reactive abuse. Here, the abuser shifts the blame onto the other person, claiming that the relationship problems or work conflicts or whatever it is are due to the other person's aggressive behavior. This tactic is used to deflect responsibility and perpetuate the cycle of abuse. By portraying the other person as the primary aggressor, the abuser not only avoids accountability but also reinforces their control over the narrative of the relationship. This manipulation can leave the other person, the victim, feeling isolated, misunderstood, and doubting their own experiences of abuse. Gaslighting does that too. When you gaslight someone, it makes them doubt their own experience. It makes them doubt what they know happened. They start to question it. Okay. But look at that. The type of manipulation that the abuser inflicts causes the other person to feel isolated and misunderstood. But there's more to that little piece than just the abuser. See, you know what really makes the other person feel isolated and misunderstood? People not believing them, people calling them crazy, people saying they're being immature, people saying their response is too over the top, people saying they're crashing out for no reason and that's not how you handle this. People saying, see, Trip, he handling it the right way. Key does not. We don't know what happened to Trip. Trip's story ain't Keita's story. See, so you don't get to dictate how Keita reacts to her abuse. You don't get to do that. But on any note, I hope y'all learned a little bit of something tonight. I really do. And just in case I didn't say it, there's no such thing as mutual abuse either. Abuse is about power and control. Only one person in the scenario is seeking power and control. The other person is trying to protect themselves, or it's some form of self defense. But on any note, I hope y'all understand a little bit more about narcissistic abuse, reactive abuse, and what that cycle looks like because we are watching it in real time. Again, I cannot diagnose anybody that I have not sat with and assessed, but I can give my mixture of personal and professional opinion. And this is a really good example of everything I just described to y'all. Ace gave all the steps and signs of a narcissistic abuser, and Keita is showing all the signs of a reactive abuse situation. She is currently residing in the space of reactive abuse. Does she need to heal? Yes, she's been harmed. Anyone who's been harmed needs to heal. But we still don't get to tell her how to do this. And you don't get to tell anybody how to blast their abuser. You don't get to do that. You get mad when people stay quiet and ask why they stay quiet so long. And then when they do decide to come out, you don't believe them or you have all the things to say to make it worse for them. Think about that. Think about that. All right, y'all have a beautiful, wonderful rest of the night. And I will holler at y'all later.